Prelims here, we got Trevin Giles taking on Carlos Prates. And it seems like Trevin Giles has become this guy now. They're testing him against all these guys that they think could potentially be elite prospects. And they're saying, hey, if you could beat Trevin Giles, then we're going to kind of catapult you up the rankings because we think Trevin Giles is pretty good, but we don't really, I don't know what it is. Maybe they don't want to build Trevin Giles. They don't think that he has a big future in the sport. I mean, he's a guy that's dropped 2 weight classes, that's been kind of a journeyman. So I think they kind of like him in this role here. And Trevin Giles, he's kind of one of these guys where if he loses, he's getting finished. If he wins, he's normally going to win pretty dominantly. You know, he's had a couple of these close fights, but most of the time when he wins, like I guess his fight with Kosi was close, but he usually will jab guys up. He could defend the takedowns well and kind of win that way. But when he loses, he'll kind of start well, unravel, and then get finished. And he's been choked a lot. He seems like he leaves his neck out there when he goes for takedowns. And his chin is also a little bit questionable at this point in his career. But he's going to be fighting a guy in Carlos Prates that looks really, really good on the Contender Series. He was able to go in there, fight a guy in Mitch Ramirez who was undefeated, who had some hype around him and really just kind of clowned him and got the finish in that fight. And looked like he was a really good striker, really technical, someone that had really good counter-striking. He has a lot of fights in Muay Thai and kickboxing, and he has a ton of knockout wins, so he's good at finding the chin and putting you out. His knees, elbows, and danger strikes like that are on point. And his takedown defense looks pretty good. And he's also training with the Fighting Nerds, so you know that he's going to have good grappling coaches and grappling partners to help him on the ground. Trevin Giles, I imagine, is maybe going to try to get takedowns here. I feel like on the feet, he's going to struggle. He could maybe land the jab. I've never really seen Prates fight someone with a really good fast jab. He does hold his hands low. That could potentially give Prates some issues, but I just feel like Prates, if he's had, it's hard to find a lot of his striking fights, kickboxing fights, Muay Thai fights. I tried to find some of them and watch a couple of them, but if he's had all these fights in that discipline, you know that he's fought someone with a real strong jab and a longer guy, things like that. So I feel like he's going to be able to deal with that and probably be able to outstrike Giles and find that chin. And Giles is probably going to go to the wrestling. So I think the chokes are going to potentially be there for Prates. Hopefully Prates has been training a lot of front chokes. And I think Prates is going to eventually probably be able to get the finish in this one. I just think he'll be able to get Giles out of there at some point in the fight. And I'm going to go with Carlos Prates here to win in the second round.